Alrighty, so today we're going to be taking apart this, looks like a FCL & Co. Cresskill NJ antique lock. You can see all the beautiful ornateness to it. And as far as I know, it is a functioning lock. The spring and everything does work. They just don't have a key for it. So we've got a bunch of tryout keys. And then I noticed you can see deep down in there all this dust and stuff. So I'm thinking this thing is going to need a thorough, proper cleaning. Let's start off. One thing I want to make sure that you recognize is that we have all clean work environment right here, right? So I'm going to make sure that we set the screws and the parts out just as they come out. Okay, this is going to lift off gently. And yes, look at all the dirt and the grit. Okay, let's zoom in on this. Look at this. Okay, this is not good for locks. Okay, so we're going to get this all cleaned out. I'm going to hose this thing out. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some air to blow the dust and things out of it, and then I'm going to use a solvent to wash all of the debris off of it, and then we're going to rehydrate it with some more modern lubricants so that it functions a little bit better. Alright, so now that we've got all the dust bunnies and everything blown out of here, just basically kind of clean it out with a solvent. Something like this brake clean worked just fine. And now I'm going to try and see what kind of key is going to work in here. So if we're looking at something like this, you know, let's take a second. We'll put this back on. We'll just kind of hold it together, and we'll just try some of these tryout keys to see what we've got. I just buy these off of eBay, and a lot of times they work. And look at that one right off the bat. Looks like it's starting to move this, but we're close. It just needs a much larger detent portion here to completely slide this bolt all the way out. And then it does not fit in the top either. So this is actually like a dual custody style lock. So we'll just try a couple more. Okay, we're getting about the same there, and no retraction. So now we just need to really hone down what type of key we need and what's going to work for this exactly. And I'll go through the tryout keys and get something that works for it. And then we'll be able to rehydrate, lubricate everything, put some grease on those really heavy contact points, and then relubricate everything with a finer oil, and we should be good to go. Alrighty, so now I believe we have a key that is going to work this. It's going to slide right up in here, and it's actually going to function and lift this while simultaneously throwing the bolt like so, and then it does do the same in reverse and retract it. So I think this is our key that we need to replicate here. We'll take this. I don't want to give them this key because these are my tryout keys, so we'll actually have to build a key that looks very similar to this, and we'll be able to customize it to this lock. So now we'll go ahead and seal everything back up. I will then put some hydrating lubrication in there. I believe I'm going to use a tri-flow on this particular application. I think that would be a good mix of a thicker style oil than something like a thinner Houdini that would just kind of vaporize and dissipate fairly quickly. These older parts, they didn't have the more modern lubrication, so this was literally supposed to be lubricated with grease or oil or something fairly heavy duty. So that's what we're going to do. We'll seal this thing all back up, and then you can kind of see, I'll show how that key works in here, and we'll just modify that slightly so that it works a little better with this particular application. Okay, turn this, and voila, you can see it does move, okay, and then it does retract it back as well, okay. Alrighty guys, this is Wayne here, and this is the dimensions that we actually went with that key. So what we had to do is actually build a key that actually had a little bit of a tip that extends into the other side of the lock. Because there's no post that sticks in there, The only way to line everything up so that it's guided in is actually stick it through the other side. Now the key is going to work on the inside and it's going to work on the outside. And these are just some of the measurements that we had to put together to actually get that proper shape. So we added the extra little tip here, and we were able to use some of those keys that we had, braze another piece of steel onto it, and then come back and cut this particular shape and notch out of it so that we had the right size, the right diameter, the notch in the correct place, and that the key works from both sides. 100% custom made key. I mean, this is not something you can just go buy. I normally try and keep some tryout keys around and some stuff off eBay, lots of different shapes and sizes, but it's only a guide to get you close to it so that when you really put something on the bench, this is how it actually turns out. Now to rehydrate this, I'm going to put a little tri-flow on all the moving parts in here just to help everything flow nice and easy. Okay, and we'll lock everything all back up. Put everything back together. It'll be sitting really nice. Nice to know that we were able to save this old antique lock, put it back into circulation and service. Shot. Good. Good. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please scan this QR code and fill out an application to wayneslockshop.com. We'll see you next time.